having here. I hope you're having a great day. And we had such a great weekend. What a great weekend we had, and a great Sunday with Catherine Mullins at World Revival Church. And it was such a packed service. I didn't have time to visit, but we have so many great things happening at World Revival Church as we go into the future. And you never know who sees these, you know, broadcasts and the social media and all the podcasts I'm doing. You never know who's going to see them. But if you're in the greater Kansas City area, you really ought to check out all the fresh things. Even if you've been and seen us before, a lot of changes are coming. And I'd love to tell you what they are, but I need to get a little more information. And they always tell me I'm always such an optimist and always so eager to tell good news and great news. And I want to share everything with everybody. And sometimes I jump ahead because I don't have, all the builders and facts and all that yet. And I should wait and get information. And, it takes a long time to get all that stuff. And so soon and very soon, we'll have that, but it's going to be great. And I'm working on it and making appointments with people. But it's going to be great going into the new year and all the stuff God's going to do. And then once we get all that together, we are preparing, aren't we? We're preparing for our future. Yeah, we're preparing for a move of God. Yeah, that's what we're doing, whether you know it or not. All the changes we're going to be making are preparing for the next move of God. Now, what kind of move of God will it be? I don't know. It might be local, might be just our church, might just be our congregation, and God touches us and we got outstanding, powerful revival services for our church. Could be a community wide. I'd love it if we could get a community wide with different churches, coming together and just experiencing God. Who knows though? It could hit the country again. It could hit the world again. Who knows? Because you can tell the world is changing, right? Imagine now. First of all, the world is changing so much. I read today. I don't know if this is. I'm trying to be an optimist here, but I read today that if some of the government people get their way, that we will be the highest taxed country in the world of the. Well, that's what they read. Imagine that. We'll be paying more taxes in this country than any other country in the world. Look how far we've come from. I think we got a tax break not that many years ago. So, imagine that. Imagine if there was a war. What would that do to the mentality, psychology? Because we're a pretty weak nation. We are self-centered victims, poor us. And what would that do if all of a sudden we had to be unified to save our own necks from the onslaught of another crisis or missiles or whatever? Just think about those kinds of things, because those kinds of things, I'm putting my hands up here so you can see them. Those kinds of things are looming over us this year and into next year. They will. Will they happen? Not going to say. You don't predict those kind of things, but that there's if. There's always that if. The church does not step in line, if other things happen, if we get distracted or fearful, whatever. But if we'll stay in faith and believe in faith, we can move this thing forward, and we can have some moves of God and get the heart of the people of God back on God. And we don't have to have those things, and we'll push evil back, and we'll push the enemy back, and we'll build a new future. So there's a lot of ifs, but we got to prepare the hearts of the generations to stand. And when you've done all things to stand, what do? Keep on standing to quench all the fiery darts of the enemy. So that's for people. And from a scripture here in 1 Corinthians 14, in the particular, I got several versions I've been reading, but the first verse of 14 says, "Make love your aim." Now the NIV says, "Follow the way of love." Wait a minute. Does that hit you different? It does me like okay, follow the way of love. Okay, so that means love's going this way, and I need to get in line. Wait for me. I want to follow love. Don't go so fast. I'm not that loving yet, and you're you're walking off and leaving me. All you spiritual lovers, slow down. So that's okay, but it's a whole different story if you take some of the other translations that are good and says, "Make love your aim." Ah, that means I'm not following something. I'm choosing to aim my life at something. I'm going to aim at love. Make love your aim. So that's a whole nother way of thinking. And I like that so much better, that I'm going to make the choice to aim at love. Make love your aim. Now, just for a second here, in context, I like context. Paul is talking about the what we call usually spiritual gifts, or desire spiritual things. He says spiritual gifts and spiritual, and he says you should want those things, but you should make love your aim and sincerely desire to walk in the spiritual things of God, spiritual gifts of God, spiritual, you know, and prophecy and speaking in tongues, all those things. But he said, but you got to make love your aim. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and I've believed in faith through faith and power and gifts and healing and all those kinds of things. But oh man, have I seen people mess it up? You talk about people's ego. Ego gets in the way. And it gets in the way, and all of a sudden, people start anointing their own heads to be a prophet, and they anoint their own heads to be discerning everybody's spirits, and and you got to make love. You got to set. My aim is on love, not on gifts, not on uh, supernatural powers and dreams and visions. No, no, no. I'm going to make love my aim. I'm going to aim at love. Now, the problem with that, there is a little bit of a problem, is the American language, or the English language, has one word for love. You know what it is? That's right, love. And so now it's confusing, and it's a lot. It doesn't have the power that it has when Paul wrote about it, and what the Greeks, in this Greek, it was written in Greek, and the Greek language, what it meant then. So now think how confusing it is to kids now, or well, anybody now. So you turn on the television and there's some superstar singing a song. Okay, good night, everybody. See you next week at this same time. Oh, we love you. Oh, that person loves me. And then you walk in over here, and your friend is over there too. Says, you know what? I could really go for some pizza right now. I just love pizza. I just love, especially that one kind. I just love pizza. Well, boy, that person loves me, and you love pizza. And well, oh, here comes my dog. I just love my dog. And then you go to bed, and mom and dad, good night, mom and dad. We love you. You know how much we love you. So that 4 or 5 times in a few hours, you can hear the word love from people on TV to your friends to pizza to ice cream to the dog to you know, and then mom and dad's deep love for you to end the day. And what is it? What I mean, how can they? What you love the dog? And you love me. Well, that's comforting. Oh yeah, and you love pizza too. So that's comforting. We got a whole lot of love here, right? And that's all we need is love. That's what, of course, my generation grew up with that. All you need is love. Now we know better. Boy, were we wrong about that? You need we do need love, but we need character. We need the character of Jesus. Yeah, we need to be like Jesus' character, and aim that then to the love of God. Well, in the Greek language, they have, well, at least four different definitions, or we could say four different kinds of love. Now, actually, there's even more than that. I found seven, but the other three are kind of like humanistic kinds of, so it doesn't really fit. But originally, there's four kinds, and is intimate love. Intimate love, husband and wife love, marriage one. Then there's another kind of love, and that's a love like friends and buddies and friends, and the get the girls together and let's go shopping for love, and you love each other. But it's on a different level. That has another Greek word. So there's a Greek word for intimate love. There's a Greek word for guys getting together to love, and girls and friendships and couples, and there's that love. Then there's another word for love, and that's when the family, brothers and sisters and moms and dads and family, Christmas around, Christmas love around the fireplace. There's a word for love for that. And then lastly, there's a word where Christians use it a lot, and you've heard it before. It's called agape love, God's kind of love, as we say. And that's the highest level of love. And so here's 4 words for love. So in the Greek, when the Greeks got together and they wanted to say, I love you, they would pick which Greek word. And so if it was your friend or your best buddy, then you would know which Greek word to use, and that would put that on a level. And then, and with your, if you're with your husband or your wife, they would have a level of love. You would use the Greek word for that. So here, Paul then sets it up. He doesn't use, I mean, this is not like Paul saying, so aim at love, set your sights on love, or follow the way of love, as the NIV says. And you go, love, okay, what kind of love are we talking about here? Okay, I'm supposed to aim at pizza love, and the same love I have for pizza and my dog and you and God. And okay, well, of course, of course I'm going to follow the way of love. Of course I love God. Of course I love you. Of course, but I love pizza too. So what is it here? So we love a lot of things, and here Paul says, follow the way of love, or as he said, aim yourself, set an aim your life towards agape. That's why we need some definition here. Agape love, God's highest form of love, right? And so the kind of love here that he's talking about is, of course, like Jesus said, a new commandment I give to you, that you love each other like I have loved you. So, of course, they already had love, but when they had to put it in the way Jesus loved them, that's a different kind of love. That's agape love, highest kind of love. And it's selfless. Self just goes away. It's a love without the self in it. And so he says, set your sights on that. Put that in your sights. Set your sights on God's agape love. It's selfless, and it does something that other kinds of, when we use the word love, doesn't do. Okay, it's of the highest value. It means if I love you in agape love, which I'm not going to use that word, I'm not going to come up and say I love you with agape love. No, we just say I love you. But I know what I mean, and I've got to live it out until you know what I mean. I value you. Very, very important in a valueless culture. I've never seen it less than now. And I've seen a lot of things, and I've lived through a lot of things, but I've never seen a more valueless culture and society as now. Sometimes it's easy to describe it with, abortion. Well, that's easy. That shows how valueless life has become to people. And but just people in authority, and people in police, and people in the military, and people in government, and like that, it's just nobody's value. And so that's why the person on television can end their TV show and wave their arm and say, I love you, out there in TV land. Well, okay, we get what you're doing. It makes good TV, but you don't value me. You're not going to do anything for me. I'm not going to be able to write you a letter and say, hey, I could sure use a scholarship for my kids. I know you're a billionaire or a multimillionaire. Could you write me a check for my kids? Because I know how you told me you love me. So that means no, because it's not agape, right? It's just not there. But God's form is aim, set your sights on God. Make that the highest order of your life. The power of God, whatever you want to call it, are all important, but make love your aim. Aim for love, right? Agape love. So your goal in life to succeed in everything and win. See, a lot of people, they start out, but they don't win. But if you want to win in everything, then aim for God's kind of love and make that your goal. Is I'm gonna try to walk with this thing out where self is not ruling me. My selfishness, my self life doesn't rule me. And it's going to take some doing. You don't wake up just one day and all of a sudden, I did it, I got it. No, you've got to make good decisions and lay down your life and practice doing that. And you don't do it begrudgingly. You enjoy doing it because that's your mission. You said it, you're going to make love, you're going to aim for that kind of agape love. And so you don't get angry when you do it. You're glad when you do it because that's what you wanted to do. That was your aim in life, right? Or as this says, you're going to follow that kind of love if you like the NIV translation. And so it's that. But I really, really like the talk about value, because then when you put your children to bed, or when you're put to bed, when you were a kid or whatever, the word love takes on new meaning if you put value to it. So, because love is not enough. The word love is not enough because we love, as I said, pizza, dog, whatever. So we've got to put something else to it in this culture, in this life, and in this day to make it work, to make it click, so that our kid, when you put him to bed at night and you say, I love you, it's not that they just heard that you love ice cream about an hour ago, too, but they go, okay, I know you love ice cream. I know how much you love ice cream, but I don't see you valuing ice cream like you value me. And so I know you love me because you value me. So when God says you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, then what is he saying? I just want to know you value me. I want to see the value of me, right? I'm talking about God. And so you could say, of course I love God. I mean, millions and millions and millions of people, you say, do you love God? They'll go, kind of, yes. Of course, yeah, I love God, I love Jesus, and but it's measured. It doesn't mean anything to Jesus if it's not measured in something else besides the English language word love. It needs to have a value package, right? And so we show that love not by saying love. We show it by what's the value level of Jesus in your life, God in your life. And now we translate that. Make love, agape love, your aim, so that when the kids go to bed at night, they really, really know they're loved because they have value. I've seen it so many times. Parents saying, "I love you." For instance, at church, all these years at churches, I've seen the kids go off to their Sunday school class or their whatever class, Wednesday night class or whatever, and they're running and they go, and the parents, "I love you. Have a good class." And you can just tell that meant absolutely nothing. It meant nothing to the child. What do they call it? Like water off a duck's back type thing. It meant nothing. They didn't even hear it. It didn't pierce through anything. It meant nothing. So what does that tell you when you see that? See, those words have no value to them. They didn't mean anything. They're not convinced. And so then the kids feel unloved, uncared for. It's amazing. I been with so many kids over the years teaching, and because I have a lifetime teaching certificate, in Missouri, and did public school teaching, and then, teaching classes and meeting, and many times over the years through different generations, I would teach and then ask the kids, how many, and I said, if you just want to say this, how many of you actually feel loved by your parents? You absolutely feel loved. And usually about 90% say they don't. And the shocking thing is those kids that said they don't oftentimes have the most wonderful parents in the world. I mean, they're really, really great people, parents. You know what I mean? But somehow love is not getting translated to them. And even though they're Christians and they love God, but it's not getting translated. And I think it's because we don't live in a society and value people and value a moment. We have to so many times we have to add I have to add entertainment. You're not enough. I love you, but you're not enough. I've got to add some entertainment, So I had to add something else. I have to add some food. I have to add some entertainment. I have to add something else because I need something else besides you. And so that gives a valueless thing. But, when we can say to Jesus, Jesus, you're more than enough for me, or to God, you're more than enough, or to people, you're more than enough. Say it to your children. You are all I need. You are what a gift from God. We say that in our family a lot. You're a gift from God. I love you so much. And then we walk that out in not just saying the word love, but we walk it out. How can I show this child, this person, this wife, this husband, this whoever it is, how can I show them, not just once, but over time, that they are valuable to me? That is selfless agape love. All right. Thanks for letting me share this. It's good to hear this kind of stuff. And until next time, bye bye.